Good evening. I'm William Kraft, 1005 Madison Lane, Blacksburg, Virginia. I've had to make a change on what I wanted to talk about tonight. This is what I'm going to comment now on, and I'm going to ask for your help with this. The noise ordinance you're getting ready to consider has left out a crucial exception. My understanding is that your legal counsel wants that left out because of having a neutral content. And the exception I'm speaking of is church activities, ringing of bells, those sort of things that take place on Sundays and for funerals and that sort of thing. In the last ordinance, that was exempted. In this ordinance, it's not mentioned. I posed a question to Chief Sisson that Sunday morning at 11 o'clock when Christiansburg Presbyterian Church rings that bell, I can promise you that it's going to violate the noise ordinance. If someone calls, what will he do? As it stands, he has to send an officer. And I don't know how to address that. I don't know how you want to address that, but I'm fairly certain there's not one of you wants to see that happen. I would ask you to either postpone this ordinance or have some discussion about what can you do to prevent that circumstance from occurring. Otherwise, what you got to do is have every church in Christiansburg get a conditional use permit, and I'm not sure that's something they're going to want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. Anyone else?
Good evening. Jared and Marie March, residential address 2198 Sowers Road, Floyd, Virginia. We have businesses at 2440 Roanoke Street, Fatback Soul Shack, and 1465 Roanoke Street, New South Barbecue. With regard to the noise ordinance, in the work session last week, a number of you expressed some interest in finding some way to grandfather in some of the businesses that were going to be affected by this. There's two main businesses right now that are actively involved in this. Us, at Fatback Soul Shack, and the Starlight. That was poo-pooed by legal counsel because of discrimination concerns. It's our belief that this ordinance, as written, will immediately place Starlight and us in violation. We see this as a targeted use of this ordinance to discriminate against our businesses. I've got a problem with the CUP application. Number one is the cost. Obviously, there's been some discussion about the cost. $750 is exorbitant. Whether you have $750 worth of work to do or not, I don't know. But to place that burden on a business for a conditional use permit is ridiculous. We also don't want to be subjected to the subjectivity of this council or any council to do something that we already have the right to do under the current code. We have built our businesses under the current code, which, as we read it, as our council reads it, businesses are exempted when they create noise in the course of doing their business in a business district, as currently written. We've built our business on that ordinance. We also don't appreciate the potential for having to reapply for a conditional use permit. As far as decibels, I see decibels as a great tool if you're trying to compare your Tesla against your Chevy in a laboratory. I do not see that as an excellent way to measure our noise or any other noise in a community where there's a tremendous amount of ambient noise. After our last meeting, I measured the noise at the Shell station on Roanoke Street. It varied from 65 to 90 decibels. How is any officer going to respond to that call and try to assign where those decibels are coming from when your noise expert last week at your work session said you can't identify where those decibels come from? Those are air pressure variations. Unenforceable. The code as written is unenforceable unless this is a laboratory. We have a solution. It's been presented a number of times to council, first time about a year ago, and it is circulating around here. It is a tourism district zoning. We think Roanoke Street would be a prime candidate for a tourism district zoning. Take from the Starlight to the interstate, or you can expand or contract that as you see fit. That is provided for in the state code. That would give you the ability to exempt businesses in a non-discriminatory fashion if they happen to reside in that district. This is a practical solution to the problem. It does not discriminate against us on your part. We will not feel discriminated against because you're targeting us.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
And
Your
it
3
opens the
minutes are up.
opportunity for additional businesses in the tourism district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to address this issue?
Jonathan Taylor, 685 School Lane, Christiansburg, Virginia. I'd just like to point out, if you do pass the current ordinance as it stands, that, Mr. Mayor, if you're mowing your lawn and I'm walking down the street, you're in violation of the noise ordinance, and I can call Chief Citizen and he can come write you a violation.
No, you misread everything, but that's okay.
I misread everything?
Yes, sir.
Or if your lawn mowing company is, or my neighbor, there's going to be issues on this ordinance. That's my piece about the ordinance. What I'd like to really say is that I believe hell is frozen over this weekend. Not only has Steve Huppert come to the Starlight Drive-In, but the mayor has as well. And the mayor also commented that we should raise our noise coming from our speakers, because he said he couldn't hardly hear it. So, just so everyone's aware about that.
Within reason. Within reason. You understand that.
That happened on Saturday. But Mr. Mayor, it'd be nice if I could finish my
Go right ahead.
without.
As is truthful. Thank you. Go ahead.
The tourism district that was proposed is a great option for the town to end the feud between businesses and the governing body. It provides more tourism dollars to come in. It provides more money to be spent in town by hotels, restaurants, and it puts Christiansburg back on the map. We're not running businesses out, we're bringing them back in. Please, please understand that if you pass this ordinance, you throw this tourism zone down the drain, that businesses are going to start moving. Christiansburg is going to fall off the map. Because as it stands, Wytheville and Hillsville are already calling local businesses to bring them down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me address something in this. I know that it's your public hearing, but I think that the lawnmower and general noise maintenance was addressed in the work session, and it does not apply if you're doing normal maintenance, yard work, this type thing on your ordinance. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
So,
How does that pertain to a small business owner that runs a lawn mowing company?
same difference.
So they're exempt?
You're exempt from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
That seems like discrimination from one business to another.
Right.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to give my perspective. My name is Leslie Brooks. I'm a recording artist. I'm also an artist on the Crooked Road Tour. I'm a songwriter, and I like to write about issues. And
Your address, please.
Oh, my address. I live in Blacksburg, 3520 Mount Zion.
Thank you.
Do a lot of business in Christiansburg. I play music in Christiansburg, and I'm very blessed and fortunate to have a couple of venues like the Fatback Soul Shack and Due South that supports my music. And I'm trying to support a child in college, and I also have very expensive musician equipment that I need to support. So that's important to me. And so, you know, the Lord says to make a joyful noise, but I'm a little bit offended by the word noise, because when I'm playing music, it's music, it's not noise. And where the Soul Shack is located, it's located in right in the heart of how many interstates? 81, 460. I mean, I couldn't go there and sing and busk without a PA system if I tried, because of the noise of the freeway. But I got to thinking about it today, and I assume everyone in this room likes music. We can all agree on that it's a universal language. And I thought about it, and I thought about Don McLean's song, The Day the Music Died. Because you know what, folks? I wish it was funny, because that's what's going to happen. So I just wanted to do a little bit. If you want to just cut me off, you can. I'll be offended, but...
Get in line.
I can still remember how the music made Christiansburg smile. And I know when I had my chance, I could make those people dance and maybe make them happy for a while. But silence screamed and made me shiver. Silence sounded the songs I delivered. Bad news for the town, they don't want me around. I remember how our spirits froze when the Huckleberry Night Spot closed. Something touched us deep inside the day the music died. So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Throw a kiss to the soul shack and nostalgic starlight. I'd love to drive in, but I guess I'll drive by the day the music died. Now just who writes the book of laws?
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up.
Protest the cause. Do you believe it?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
That's definitely a tough act to follow. Stacy Martin, 1480 Turnberry Lane, Weiner, Virginia. My taxpayer address, though, in Christiansburg, is 782 River Road. Many of you know me, some of you do not. I'm a certified financial planner with 20 years of economic forecasting and wealth management experience. I have 40 years of small business, family-owned experience also. I own my own financial practice. I own Venture Hobbies and Toys, and Tea and Totally Gifts in the mall. From this experience and perspective is how I wish to discuss this issue tonight. We are at a crossroads in Christiansburg, its history, a struggle of the type of community that we are and the type of community we wish to become. Tonight, you as councilmen and women can either demonstrate that you stand for freedom and justice of all, which includes businesses. For years, whether local or non-businesses have been taken advantage of, abused, and robbed, yes, robbed, of their hard-earned community-based businesses. To think any different, either one does not either know the facts, has not been a business person, or has to be indifferent. Certainly, not all of these issues have been created by the town. However, many have and can be controlled by our local government. So the question is how did we get here? That brings us to tonight, the very same opportunity to beat back the indifference or lack of regard for economic, hardworking local business women and men, the thread of the economic community. This decision tonight, or lack of, will resonate for many years to come. Remember the 1970s, our beautiful antebellum courthouse. The discussion, I remember as a child, to tear it down or to leave or renovate it and build something else. Well, the progressives said, let's tear it down, it'd be prettier. Who here is going to argue that they made the wrong decision? They made the wrong decision. It changed the character of our town forever. So, the last time this code was written, and whoever thought the two fine outstanding businesses like the Soul Shack and Starlight Drive-In would ever been called into question, taken to court, or even called the police on. After all, the code did say businesses were exempt. Well, that would never happen, right? Well, it did. Now the amnesia of the business exemption has sat in, and also the absence of even admitting that they were exempt in the first place, even though the courts agreed. Now we're in this place right now. We got here the same way, by a decision. It is not one person or one councilman's fault, and some issues were not even decided by the majority of this council. But, for example, the rain tax was. This proposal, the sound ordinance, was written concerning three things. Ambient noise is not handled. How will it be handled? That was brought up by the marches. I fear the code can be weaponized and can be interpreted in the future if and when an issue arises. Solution, have the Planning Commission to review all complaints before a ticket is issued and an investigation among a citizen panel that includes business owners. Finally, the code will be near impossible and impede future business growth. in an economic environment where retail comes last and an event-based entertainment first environment has developed. This should be playing right in the hands of the Starlight. For example, I was in Orlando this last
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Your 3 minutes are up.
week.
Anyone else?
Chris Walks, 1370 River Street. Some of my concerns about this noise ordinance. You all reviewed the Winchester noise ordinance, or some of you did. And in this ordinance, some of the important things in that are left out. There, ambient noise is considered, and the dB reading has to be 10 above the ambient noise level, which for the fatback would be the ambient noise level of 81. It's pretty loud. Another is that the measurement has to be taken from inside the building of complaint. As the ordinance reads now, basically, you can go up to the fence behind the Starlight on that person's property and take the reading there instead of inside the residence. And also, up until last Wednesday at the work session, it was told to the citizenry that this would be a complaint-based system up until last week. And then we were informed by Chief Sisson that, well, no, if my officers are driving around and they hear something, well, they can issue a citation. That leaves it up to the officer. You know, the officer may not be offended by, say, Taylor Swift being played loudly, but I can think of a few bands like NWA and Body Count that have written some songs that may offend police officers. Would they then ticket them and let someone else go? That's not how ordinances should be. If it's a complaint-based system, you should put it in the ordinance and not, you know, say, well, it's complaint-based up until we decide it's not. And also, if it were a state agencies are required to think about the economic impact. They have to do an economic impact analysis for businesses, which hasn't been done here. As a matter of fact, as far as I know, nobody even knows how many businesses will be affected. You know, maybe you should think about that before you pass this ordinance and look at some of the things from the Winchester ordinance and see if maybe that should also be incorporated in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Anyone else?